My name is Joanna Sinclair. I am 37 years old. The night I came home with a layoff notice folded inside my bag, my sister did not ask if I was okay. She asked who was going to pay her car loan. My mother nodded like that was the most reasonable question in the world. Then my father walked into my bedroom, pulled a cardboard box from the closet, and started packing my things right there in front of our aunt and in front of the neighbor who was sitting on our couch, with a cup of tea still warm in her hands. He said my sister needed my room more than I did. I stood in that hallway carrying the weight of 15 years of mortgage payments, insurance premiums, and car notes that had all come out of my account. None of it mattered. None of it bought loyalty. None of it bought love. None of it even bought one moment of hesitation. What they did not know could have changed everything. What none of them knew was that I was not broken. I was not helpless. I was not ruined. By the time they found out the truth, I was already gone. Before I take you back to that night, let me take you to the beginning of the end. It was a Tuesday evening in March. The kind of evening that looks ordinary until it becomes the dividing line between your old life and your new one. The fluorescent lights in the conference room at Ashford and Graves buzzed the way they always did, but that day they sounded louder, sharper, colder. My manager sat across from me with an HR representative I had never seen before. A folder rested on the table between them with my name printed neatly on the tab. Company-wide restructuring, he said. We are eliminating 40% of the analytics division. That was it. 12 years at that firm, not a single negative review. 3 of their top 10 clients brought in through my work. Long nights. Weekend calls, emergency meetings, promotions that came slower than they should have, all of it reduced to a folder and a practiced expression. I signed the papers, took the box they offered me. Walked out before noon. In the parking garage, I sat in my car for 11 minutes. I counted every one of them. Then I called Greg Whitmore, my business partner. I got laid off, I told him. He did not miss a beat. Then it is time, Joe. The firm is ready. The Austin office is waiting. When do you fly down? I should have said tomorrow. I should have said tonight. I should have chosen myself in that exact moment. Instead, I said, let me go home first. Let me tell my family. Greg went quiet for a second. Then he said, Joe, are you sure about that? I was not sure. But I drove to Carterville anyway, 45 minutes south on I-75, past the Walmart, past the Baptist church, past the Sinclair mailbox at the end of the gravel driveway. The same mailbox my mortgage payments had kept standing. When I pulled in, I counted the cars. My parents, Megan, Aunt Patty, Mrs. Dawson from next door, 4 cars, company, witnesses. I grabbed my bag and walked to the front porch, still trying to figure out how I would say it. Something calm, something steady, something that would not make them worry. I never got the chance. The screen door had not even shut behind me when Megan called from the living room. So it is true. You got fired. She sat cross-legged in the recliner with her phone in her hand, looking at me the way people look at a wreck on the side of the road. Curious, detached. Interested in the mess, but not the person inside it. Laid off, I said. There is a difference, whatever. She turned to my mother. Mom, I told you. Who is going to pay my car loan? Now my mother, Linda Sinclair, sat on the couch beside Aunt Patty with a plate of lemon squares between them. Mrs. Dawson occupied the armchair by the window. 3 women, 3 witnesses. Not one of them flinched. My mother set down her tea. Joanna, sit. We need to talk. Her voice was not worried, it was administrative. Calm in the way people get when they are discussing numbers instead of pain. I was not her daughter in that moment. I was a financial problem. How did you already know? I asked. Megan shrugged. Tyler's girlfriend works reception at Ashford. She texted me this morning, so they had known for hours. They had sat in that living room eating lemon squares and discussing my layoff before I had even finished clearing out my desk. I looked at Aunt Patty. She stared into her teacup. Mrs. Dawson pretended to scroll through her phone. Joanna, my mother said again. Sit down. I sat. Megan leaned forward. You could have at least warned us. I have a payment due Friday. I almost laughed. Almost? The cruelty of it was so complete it felt scripted, but Megan did not script anything. She just said whatever served her first. To understand that room, you have to understand everything that came before it. I graduated from the University of Georgia at 22 with a finance degree and a job offer from Ashford and Graves, starting 3 weeks later. My grandmother Ruth Sinclair was 84 now, but even then she was sharp as a tax audit. She drove 2 hours to watch me walk across that stage. Afterward, she pinned the tassel back against my cap and said, "You are going to do well, Joanna. Help your family when you can. But remember, helping and being used are two different animals." I remembered that for a while. At first it was small. $500 a month to my parents for groceries and utility bills, and whatever Megan had forgotten to pay after dropping out of community college. I was 23 and I thought I was doing something good. It felt noble. It felt loving. It felt like purpose. Then my father Ray was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. He was 51 and still working full-time at the lumberyard. Insurance covered enough until the yard cut him down to part-time at 57. Then the coverage disappeared. I was 29. I started paying his premium. $780 a month. By the time I was 32, he could barely keep up with the mortgage. My mother did not work. Megan drifted in and out of jobs like they were temporary inconveniences. So I took over the mortgage too, $2,400 a month on auto pay. I did the math once. Over 15 years, I sent home around $340,000. I never kept score out loud. I never handed anyone a receipt. I did not want applause, but I believed they knew. I believed they felt it. I believed somewhere deep down they understood what I was holding together for them. They did not. 2 years before the layoff, my mother called about the car. Megan wanted a new SUV. $38,000. She had no savings, no real income, and a credit score that could not carry a grocery cart. My mother had a solution. I would co-sign. I said no. I said Megan needs to build her own credit. I will help with the down payment, but I am not signing that loan. What followed was 2 weeks of silence. No calls, no texts, nothing from my parents. One passive-aggressive Facebook post from Megan about people forgetting where they came from once they think they are better than everyone else. Then Aunt Patty called. "Your mother is telling people at church you abandoned your sister." And the shame that hit me was not the kind that comes from wrongdoing. It was the kind that grows inside families where no and betrayal are treated like the same word. I co-signed the loan. The day I signed my name to Megan's car note, I did one other thing. I called Greg Whitmore and said 4 words. Let us start our own. He had been suggesting it for over a year. A boutique financial advisory firm, small business clients, smart strategy, low overhead. Real relationships. We filed the paperwork that week. Sinclair and Whitmore Financial Advisory. Greg insisted my name came first. "You are the engine, Joe," he said. "I am the GPS. I never told my family." Not because it was a secret, because nobody asked. Nobody cared what I did after work. Nobody noticed the late calls. Nobody asked why I was in meetings at 10 at night. Nobody asked me anything that did not somehow circle back to money. So the company grew quietly. By the time Ashford let me go, Sinclair and Whitmore was 2 years old. We had 4 employees. A small office on East 6th Street in Austin. A real client list I had built one handshake at a time. Year 1 revenue $180,000. Year 2 $340,000. Not flashy money, not magazine money, but honest money. Earned from real work, forecasting, tax strategy, restructuring plans for family restaurants, auto shops, construction firms, and small businesses that could not afford giant consulting firms. I kept my day job because it gave me health insurance and because I had been raised to think safety mattered more than freedom. But by then the truth was simple. Sinclair and Whitmore could carry me. And here is the part that still hurts. I had a plan. In 6 months after the next revenue target, I was going to leave Ashford voluntarily and move to Austin full-time. Before I left Georgia, I was going to pay off my parents' mortgage in one lump sum. A final gift, a clean ending. I had even drafted a letter. This is for the house. Take care of each other. That letter sat in a folder on my desktop called Someday. I deleted it the night my father packed my things. Back in the living room, my mother folded her hands. She always did that when she had already decided something and wanted it to sound like discussion. Joanna, here is the situation. Megan needs a proper room. She has been sleeping on the pull-out downstairs for months. You are barely home. You work late. You travel. It makes more sense for Megan to have your room. I stared at her. You want me to move out? I want you to think about your sister, she said. Then she softened her tone the way people do when they want to disguise the cruelty inside a sentence. You had a job. Now you need to find a new place anyway. It is practical. Megan pulled her knees closer. You do not have kids. You do not have a husband. You are flexible. I looked at Aunt Patty. She pressed her thumb into the arm of the couch and kept staring at the carpet. Mrs. Dawson had gone very still. When did you decide this? I asked. My mother did not answer. Mom, when this morning. This morning. While I was still at my desk at Ashford, packing 12 years of work into a box, my mother was deciding how to erase me from the house I had been paying for. I went into your room this afternoon, she said, moved some boxes to the garage, just to get started. I stood up and walked down the hallway. I opened my bedroom door. Half my bookshelf was empty. The framed photo of my college graduation was gone. The only picture of me displayed anywhere in the house had already been taken down. The nail was still in the wall. They had not even waited. I heard footsteps behind me. My father entered carrying a flattened cardboard box. He opened it, set it on the bed, and began placing my belongings inside. Folded shirts. My jewelry box from Grandma Ruth. A coffee mug from my first day at Ashford. Dad, he did not look up. Dad, look at me. His hands slowed, but his eyes stayed on the box. Your sister needs this house more than you do, Joanna. You will be fine. You are always fine. Those 4 words stripped everything bare. You are always fine. I paid the mortgage. I was fine. I covered the insurance. I was fine. I cautioned the loan. I was fine. I got laid off and pushed out of my home on the same day. I would still be fine. I looked into the box and saw my graduation photo resting on top of my clothes, frame and all. My mother had taken it down that morning before I even knew I had lost my job. From the living room, I heard Megan open another tab on her phone. She was shopping for curtains. I picked up one box, then the second one already waiting near the door. I carried them to my car, one in each arm, past my mother with her folded hands, past Aunt Patty, who started to stand and then sat back down when my mother looked at her, past Mrs. Dawson, who would absolutely tell this story later, but had no intention of stopping it now. Nobody followed me outside. The gravel cracked beneath my tires as I backed out of the driveway. I had heard that sound 1,000 times, coming home from school, from college, from long workdays that paid for a house that no longer had a place for me. I drove 11 miles before pulling into a chevron off Highway 41. I left the engine running and sat there with both hands on the steering wheel. It was not the layoff that broke me. Losing a job hurts. But jobs can be replaced. I had a resume, a network, a company with my name on the door waiting for me in Austin. What broke me was the empty nail in the wall. That bare spot where my graduation photo had hung. My mother had looked at my face in that frame while I was still employed, still paying, still believing I belonged there, and she had taken it down. 15 years, $340,000, erased from the walls in one afternoon. I called Greg. Is there room for me in the Austin office? I asked. Joe, he said. I have had a desk with your name on it for 6 months. I am driving to a hotel tonight. I will book a flight in the morning. I will pick you up from the airport. Joe, are you okay? I told him I was fine because that was what I had been trained to say. After we hung up, I cried. Not loudly, not theatrically. Just quietly in a gas station, parking lot in rural Georgia with 2 cardboard boxes in the back seat and no home behind me. I cried because, after 15 years of carrying that family, not one person in that house thought I was worth keeping. Less than an hour after I left, Megan hung new curtains in my room. I learned that later from Aunt Patty. Austin in March smelled like cedar rain and something I could not name for the first 3 days. On the 4th day, I realized what it was. Absence. The absence of obligation. Greg picked me up from the airport Wednesday morning. By Thursday, I had a key to the office on East 6th, converted warehouse unit, exposed brick, 4 desks. Whiteboard covered in Greg's handwriting. Our team was already there. Lisa, Marcus, Devin, Priya, people I had hired during late-night calls while my family planned how to clear me out. "Welcome to headquarters," Greg said. Then he taped a paper sign over one desk. "Joanna Sinclair, co-founder. I found a 1-bedroom apartment 3 blocks away, 600 square feet, white walls. 1 window facing an oak tree. I signed the lease that same day and slept on an air mattress with the window open. The next morning I sat at my desk and did something I had not done in 15 years. I opened my bank account and looked at the balance without mentally subtracting someone else's needs from it. The auto-pay transfers were still active. Mortgage $2,400, Dad's insurance $780. Megan's car $650. Every month $30 left my account and landed in the lives of people who had told me to leave. Greg leaned in the doorway. "You are still paying them, are you not?" I did not answer. "Joe, they packed your boxes." "I know." Then why? Because somewhere inside me some stubborn, damaged, loyal part was still waiting for an apology. Still hoping the phone would ring and my mother would say, "Come home. We were wrong. We are sorry." Nobody called. 14 days passed. No call from my mother, no text from my father. No message from Megan asking where I was or whether I had a roof over my head. On day 10, I opened the family group chat and made the mistake of scrolling. Megan had posted a photo of my old room repainted dusty rose with new curtains and a vanity table with a ring light. Caption: "Finally got my own space." My mother commented, "Looks beautiful, sweetheart." Below that came messages about chili recipes, tomato plants, and ordinary family chatter, as if I had not existed there 2 weeks earlier. 14 days of silence about me. 14 days of ease without me. 14 days in which my absence meant nothing but extra floor space. That night, I opened my banking app and stared at the auto-pay screen. 3 recurring payments glowing back at me like cords I had not yet cut. My cursor hovered over cancel recurring payment. I did not click, not because I was strategic, not because I needed more time. Not because I was protecting anyone. I did not click because I was still hoping. Day 16, my phone lit up with Megan's name. For one stupid second, hope flared in me before I answered. "Hey," she said in the casual voice people use when they are asking if you can pick up milk. "My car insurance is due next week. Can you handle it? No, hello. No, where are you? No, are you okay? No, are you alive?" Then she added, "Also, Mom says the water heater broke. She needs like 2,000. I let the silence sit there. Megan hated silence. She rushed to fill it. "Hello, Joanna. You there, Megan? Do you know where I am right now? I do not know. Nashville, wherever. Can you just send it? I am in Austin, Texas. I have been here for 2 weeks. There was a pause. Then she said, "Okay, cool. So about the insurance," I hung up. That was the moment. Not the layoff, not the boxes, not my father folding my shirts into cardboard. It was Megan calling from the room she had taken, asking me to pay for the car I never wanted to consign, while not knowing or caring that I had moved to another state. I opened my laptop and created a new document. Then I did what I should have done years earlier. I wrote a professional email. The subject line was financial transition, 30-day notice. I addressed all 3 of them. Linda, Ray, Megan. The email was clean, direct, professional. Effective May 1, I will discontinue the following monthly payments. Mortgage on 14 Birch Lane, Carterville. $2,400. Health insurance premium for Ray Sinclair. $780. Auto loan payment for Megan Sinclair. $650. These payments have been maintained at my personal expense for periods ranging from 2 to 8 years. This message serves as formal 30-day notice of discontinuation. For Dad's insurance, I will continue payment for an additional 60 days, beyond May 1, to allow time for marketplace enrollment or Medicaid application. I am willing to provide guidance on the application process. This is not punishment. This is transition. I signed it with my full name, Joanna Sinclair, not love, not your daughter, not your sister. I forwarded it to Greg before I sent it. 2 minutes later, he replied, professional, clean, no weak spots, send it. At 11:47 that night, I hit send. 15 years of transfers, silence, duty, guilt, and endurance sat behind that one click. Then I shut the laptop, walked home, and slept 7 uninterrupted hours for the first time in months. I knew the storm would come in the morning. At 7 a.m. my phone was already lit with wreckage. 14 missed calls from my mother, 6 from Megan, 2 from my father. Text stacked on the screen like debris. Joanna Marie Sinclair, call me right now. You cannot do this to your family. Your grandmother would be ashamed of you. You cannot just cut me off. That is my car. Mom is literally crying right now. Call your mother. I read every message. Then I set the phone down and made coffee. Here is what I noticed. Not one message asked if I was okay. Not one said, we miss you. Not one acknowledged I had been gone for over 2 weeks and nobody had checked on me. When I stopped paying, they noticed within 7 hours. When I stopped living under their roof, they did not notice for 16 days. At noon, Aunt Patty called. Joanna, honey, are you okay? 5 words. She was the first person in my family to say them. Your mother has been calling everyone, she said, telling people you abandoned the family, saying you are bitter about losing your job, saying you are selfish and ungrateful. But I was there, Joanna. I saw what happened. I should have said something and I did not. I am sorry. That apology cracked something in me because it was honest. Patty told me more. My mother was panicking about the mortgage because she had no idea it was $2,400 a month. She thought it was $800. She had never looked at a statement because she had never needed to. Megan had posted online about a sister who cared more about money than family. My father sat on the porch in silence. Megan had quit her salon job because the commute was too long. My mother had started putting groceries on a credit card. I thanked Patty. I did not ask her to fix anything. She had already given me the one thing no one else had, the truth. The weeks after that were the hardest and the clearest of my life. Hard because grief does not care how justified you are. Clear because for the first time in 15 years my time belonged to me. Sinclair and Whitmore landed our biggest contract yet. A family-owned Tex-Mex chain with 11 locations across Central Texas needed a full restructuring plan. It was mine to lead. I worked 12-hour days not because I was trying to escape my pain, though work certainly gave it less room to echo, but because for once the work came back to me. Every spreadsheet, every proposal, every client call, it fed the life I was building instead of the one that had discarded me. Greg wanted to expand, bigger office, 3 new hires, grand opening event, make it official. You and he asked, I am in, I said, but no family. Understood. That Saturday I called Grandma Ruth at Sycamore Ridge, the assisted living facility outside Atlanta. She did not know any of it. I told her the short version, the layoff, the eviction, the move. She listened the way wise people do, without interrupting, without rushing to comfort before understanding. When I finished, she said I knew this day would come. I only hoped it would not have to. Then I told her about the company, about the new office, about the opening next month. Joanna, I want to be there, she said. My throat tightened. You will sit in the front row, I told her. I will need someone to drive me. Greg will pick you up himself. Good. Tell him to drive slow. I am 84. May 1st arrived the way deadlines often do. Quiet for the person who planned them, loud for everyone else. For the first time in 5 years, no payment left my account for 14 Birch Lane. I was in a client meeting when my phone started buzzing. I ignored it. By afternoon, I had 9 missed calls from my mother. I listened to one voicemail. Her voice sounded different. Thin, careful. Joanna, there is a letter from the bank. The mortgage payment did not go through. Did you forget I called her back at 6 from my office? Mom, I sent an email 30 days ago. Did you read it, that email, she said. I thought you were upset. I thought you would calm down. I was calm when I wrote it. I am calm now. The payments have stopped. Joanna, you cannot. You have had 30 days to contact the bank. I will still send you information on restructuring options. Then her voice cracked. Real fear this time. This is our home, Joanna. I closed my eyes. It is the house I paid for 5 years, and you asked me to leave it. She hung up. That night my father called me directly for the first time. Joanna. The silence between us was thick enough to touch. You could start with sorry, I said. He exhaled slowly. I am not good at this, Joanna. Your mother said that night was best for everyone. I believed her. You packed my things into boxes, Dad. In front of Aunt Patty, in front of Mrs. Dawson. Did you think that was best for me? No, he said after a long pause. No, I did not. It was the closest thing to honesty I had heard from him in years. Then he asked for help with the mortgage and the insurance. He said he did not know what came next. I told him I would explain the insurance enrollment process. I would answer questions, but I would not send money. Your mother says you are punishing us, he said. I am not punishing anyone. I am living the life I should have started a long time ago. He went quiet again. Then in a low voice he said, I know I was wrong that night. I just do not know how to fix it. It was not enough. But it was something. 6 weeks later in mid-June, the Texas heat pressed against the office windows while my phone rang again. Megan. This time she was crying for real. Joanna, they are taking my car. The bank sent a repo notice. You co-signed. This is going to ruin your credit too. I had already handled it. I have spoken with the bank, I said. My attorney submitted a release request based on borrower default. My name comes off the loan within 10 business days. You have an attorney, the loan is yours now, Megan. You have 15 days to catch up or surrender the vehicle. You are ruining my life. I let the silence sit before answering. No, I am done ruining mine. The car was repossessed 2 weeks later from the driveway while Megan was inside watching television. A tow truck, a clipboard, $38,000 of entitlement rolling away. Then a letter arrived in my mailbox, handwritten from Grandma Ruth. The envelope was thin, 1 page folded in thirds. Her handwriting shook, but her words did not. Joanna, I heard everything. I am not surprised. I am sad but not surprised. I watched Linda favor Megan since that girl was 5 years old, and I told her more than once that she was building a house on one daughter's back and decorating it for the other. She did not listen. You did the right thing. Helping without boundaries is not generosity, it is servitude, and you served long enough. I want to come to your grand opening. Tell that Greg fellow to drive carefully. I did not survive 84 years to die on a Texas highway. I read that letter 3 times at my desk before I could see clearly again. At the end of June, we scheduled the grand opening for our new office on West 4th Street. The office was beautiful. I am allowed to say that now. 2,800 square feet in a converted warehouse, exposed brick, tall windows, 8 desks, glass-walled conference room, and above the entrance in clean charcoal letters. Sinclair and Whitmore Financial Advisory. Greg handled the event details like he was planning a wedding and a merger at the same time. 52 guests. Sparkling water, wine, small plates, string lights, low jazz. Clients, local business owners, 1 reporter from the Austin Business Journal, and colleagues from across the finance world. One of those colleagues was Karen Webb. Karen shared our invitation in her church women's group chat, the same group my mother belonged to. Within 4 hours, the news reached Linda Sinclair. Joanna Sinclair is launching her own financial firm in Austin. Aunt Patty called me that night. Your mother saw it, she said, saw what Karen posted about your company. Your mother read it at the kitchen table. She went white, then red, then very still. She looked at Megan and said 4 words, "We are going to Austin." I did not know they were coming. The night of the event, I stood at the podium in a gray blazer with my hair pulled back and my hands steady. 2 years ago, I started this company at a kitchen table with 1 partner and 1 client. Tonight we stand in a real office with real clients and a real future. I thanked Greg. I thanked our team, Lisa, Marcus, Devin, Priya, the new hires, the clients who trusted us. Then I looked at my grandmother sitting in the front row wearing pearl earrings and a face full of fierce pride. And I want to thank my grandmother Ruth Sinclair. She taught me that generosity is a strength, but knowing when to stop is wisdom. The room applauded. 40 minutes later, I was speaking with a restaurant owner from San Marcos when Aunt Patty appeared at the door. She had flown in without telling me. She hugged me hard and whispered, "I owe you this," from that night. A few minutes later, I was refilling my water glass when the front door opened and the entire room changed. My mother walked in first dressed like she was heading to Sunday service. Megan behind her wearing a jacket I recognized as Patty's. My father came last, hovering near the entrance like he was not sure he belonged on the floor. My mother scanned the room, the logo, the desks, the people. 50 strangers who knew my name and did not know hers. Then she walked straight toward me. "Why did you hide this from us, Joanna?" I set down my glass. "Mom, you cleared out my room before I got home. You packed my things. You did not call me for 2 weeks. And now you want to know why I did not share my life with you." Conversations around us stopped. A client lowered his wine glass. Lisa looked at Greg. Greg did not step in. He simply moved close enough to make it clear I was not standing alone. Megan stepped forward. "So you had money this whole time, and you let them take my car." "The car I never wanted to Kasin," I said. "The car you drove while I was paying for the house. The car you asked me about before asking if I had somewhere to sleep." The jazz kept playing softly over the silence. Then Grandma Ruth spoke from her wheelchair. "Linda, this is not your place. Step outside." My mother turned pale. Then she cried, but this was not the living room in Carterville. These were not her neighbors. No one rushed to comfort her. "I have sacrificed everything for this family," she said. "Mom," I said in the same calm voice I use with clients when the numbers are ugly, and the truth has to be said anyway. "I paid your mortgage for 5 years. I paid Dad's insurance for 8 years. I paid Megan's car for 2 years. None of that was your sacrifice, it was mine. And you repaid it by packing my belongings into cardboard boxes the night I lost my job." The room went still. Megan tried one last time. "You are trying to embarrass us." "I am not embarrassing anyone. I am stating facts, in my own office, at my own event." Then my father stepped forward, past my mother, past Megan, past every version of himself that had stayed silent for too long. He stood in front of me, shoulders low, hands at his sides, and said 2 words. "I am sorry." No excuse, no qualifier, no but. I looked at him and saw something new. "Shame." "Thank you, Dad," I said. That is the first honest thing anyone in this family has said to me in 2 months. Then I turned to my mother and sister. "I think you should leave. This is a professional event." Greg opened the door. My mother and Megan left without another word. My father paused for 1 second, looked at the sign above my desk, and then followed them out. The last guests left by 9. The caterers packed away the trays. The string lights still glowed softly across the ceiling like punctuation marks at the end of a sentence I had been trying to finish for 15 years. Grandma Ruth and I sat in the empty office beside my desk. She took my hand. "I am proud of you," she said. "Not because of this place, because you stopped before it was too late." "I wish I had stopped sooner," I said. "Then start from here." Patty told me afterward that on the drive back to the hotel, my mother said she was going to call a lawyer and see if she could force me to keep paying the mortgage. She was told exactly what I already knew. Generosity is not a contract. The weeks after the opening moved the way collapse usually does, slowly at first, then all at once. The mortgage fell 2 months behind. The bank issued warnings. A loan modification was denied. Eventually, my parents had to take in a renter for the upstairs bedrooms. A graduate student from Kennesaw State moved in by August. My mother hated it. Megan, without the car, had to rely on rides. Her credit sank. She finally applied for work at a garden supply store. She did not get the job the first time. She applied again and got it on the second try. My father's insurance shifted to a marketplace plan. More expensive than before, even with subsidies, but workable. Patty helped him fill out the forms. Karen's post had done its quiet damage in church. The women around my mother began asking questions she could not answer without either lying or admitting the truth. Then one afternoon in August, my mother called. I was walking back from a coffee shop on Rainy Street when I answered. Her voice sounded stripped bare. "I know I was wrong, Joanna. I should not have made you leave. I should not have let Megan say those things. I was afraid of being alone. Megan was always here. You were always gone, working, traveling. I picked the one who was near me. I was selfish." I let her speak. Then I said, "You did not just hurt me, Mom. You erased me." There was silence. "What can I do?" she asked. "Respect my decision. I am not paying your bills anymore. That is not cruelty. It is clarity. If you want a relationship with me, it starts with seeing me as a person and not a paycheck. You are my daughter," she said. "Then treat me like one." The line went quiet for a long time. Then she said, "Okay." 3 days later, Megan sent me the longest text she had ever written. She said she knew she messed up. She knew she should have asked if I was okay. She said Mom always told her I was the strong one and she was the one who needed help. She said she believed it. She said she was sorry. For a moment I thought maybe it was real. Then at the bottom came the sentence that explained everything. "Can we talk about the car situation?" I stopped reading. I replied with one message. "I accept your apology for what you said that night. But I will not discuss money with you anymore. If you need financial guidance, I can recommend a counselor. I love you, but I need space." She did not answer. 2 weeks later, Patty told me Megan had kept the job at the garden supply store. Small progress, fragile progress, but hers. Late August, Priya knocked on my office door. There is a man in the lobby. Says his name is Sinclair. My chest tightened. "Send him in." My father walked into my office, slowly taking in every detail. The desks, the team photos, the glass conference room, the sign on my door. Co-founder Joanna Sinclair. He stood staring at it for a long moment. "I did not know you had a company," he said. "I did not know you paid our mortgage for 5 years. I did not know your insurance kept me alive. I did not know because I never asked." Then he sat down across from me, looking older than 64. "I am not here to ask for money," he said. "I just wanted to see what you built." Why? Because I should have seen it a long time ago. His eyes filled. Then Ray Sinclair, the man who had never cried at his own mother's funeral, pressed his fingers to the bridge of his nose, and his shoulders began to shake. I did not hug him. I was not ready. But I poured him a glass of water and sat down across from him. "Dad," I said, "we can rebuild this. But it starts from zero. No money, no guilt, just honesty." He nodded. "No big promises. No dramatic declarations. Just a nod. Sometimes that is enough to begin." By September, the Texas heat had softened, and so had something inside me. Sinclair and Whitmore had 8 employees. Quarterly revenue was up 40%. We had signed more clients: restaurants, construction, dental groups. Real businesses run by real people who sent thank you cards when our work saved them money or steadied their future. I kept every card in my desk drawer. I upgraded to a 2-bedroom apartment in the same neighborhood. I ran the Lady Bird Lake Trail when the mornings were cool enough. I read on the balcony Saturday evenings. I called Grandma Ruth every Sunday. Back in Carterville, the new normal settled in. The house on Birch Lane had a graduate student renting the upstairs. My mother cooked in a kitchen that was no longer fully hers. My parents managed the reduced mortgage somehow. Megan moved into a studio above a dry cleaner on Main Street and kept working at the garden supply store. My father and I talked every 2 weeks about small things: the weather, tomato plants. A PBS documentary, not the boxes, not yet, but the calls kept happening. My mother and I did not speak again for a while. I did not slam the door. I simply stopped holding it open. One afternoon, Megan sent me a photo of a small succulent on her apartment balcony. No caption, no request, just the plant. I did not reply, but I saved the picture. That Sunday, Grandma Ruth asked me something simple. "Are you happy, Joanna?" I thought about it for a long moment. Happy did not feel like the right word. Too bright, too complete, too polished. "I am peaceful," I said. She chuckled softly. Peaceful is the best kind of happy, everything else is extra. After the call, I wrote those words down and taped them below my monitor. The next day, I framed Ruth's letter and hung it on the wall behind my desk beside the Sinclair and Whitmore logo. Greg read it one afternoon and smiled. Your grandmother is right, you know. About the servitude thing, she usually, as I said. Then I stood at the window and watched Austin move outside. Traffic, music from a bar down the street. A woman jogging past with a golden retriever. Nobody out there knew my history. Nobody knew I had once been the family ATM. Nobody owed me anything and I owed nothing to anyone. Here I was just Joanna. And for the first time in my life, that was enough. Monday morning at 8:15, I sat down at my desk with coffee and opened my laptop. 3 new client inquiries in the inbox. A full calendar. The Tex-Mex chain had renewed for another year. Greg knocked on the door frame. Ready for the week, ready, I said. Then he walked away and I looked at the objects on my desk. Ruth's framed letter. A photo of the team at the grand opening. A mug Greg bought me that simply said co-founder. And one more thing. A photograph in a cheap silver frame. Me at 22 in cap and gown with my tassel pinned, standing in front of the university sign. The same picture my mother took off the wall the morning she knew I had been laid off. The same picture my father packed into a cardboard box without meeting my eyes. Now it sat on my desk in my office, inside a company with my name on the building. I do not hate my family. That part matters. I do not spend my days imagining revenge or waiting for them to crawl back with apologies big enough to rewrite the past. I simply stopped carrying what was never mine to carry alone. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors. And holding the key is not cruelty, it is the first act of kindness I ever gave myself. If you are the one paying the bills nobody thanks you for, if you are the one holding everything together while everyone treats your effort like oxygen invisible until it disappears, hear me. You are allowed to stop. Stopping does not mean you do not love them. It means you have finally decided to love yourself too, and if that scares them, if they call you selfish, if they call you cold, if they call you ungrateful, remember this, they are not mourning you, they are mourning the convenience of you. There is a difference. My name is Joanna Sinclair. I am 37 years old. I run a company I built with my own hands. I sleep in an apartment I pay for with money that stays in my account. I talk to my father every 2 weeks. I saved a picture of my sister's plant. And I finally stopped being fine for everyone else. Take care of yourself first. Nobody else has that job. If this story touched you in any way, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you have ever been the one carrying everyone, while nobody noticed, tell me your story in the comments. And if someone in your life needs to hear that setting boundaries is not selfish, share this with them today. Your support helps more stories like this reach the people who need them most. See you in the next one.